to be very many questions. Section 4, Department of Audits and Accounts, another one of the statewide spreads. Section 5, the Appeals Court. Our newly minted subcommittee chair, Andy Welch, and his folks have done a wonderful job on digging in. My hat's off to Chairman Welch. He's dug in and been a good sport as we've kind of picked on him a little bit. But I'm going to sneeze here in just a second. But as you look through that, of course, 5.1.1 are the statewide spreads. 5.1.2, just going to actuals there. Then as we look at 5.1.3 and 1.4, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, we're dealing with things that were being asked for to create new positions in the amended budget. And as our practice has been over the last several years, those items are things that we will look at in the big budget and not in the amended. 5.1.9 just deals with a shared position, and it's shared between Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals there as we've expanded the size of the Court of Appeals. Moving on to Judicial Council, Section 6. Again, 6.3.1 is one of those positions that we're saying we'll address in 17, and then another adjustment for projected expenditures in 6.4.5. If you'll turn on then to Prosecuting Attorneys, Section 8. What we're doing there is just adjusting 8.2.4 for actual start dates. We'd allowed those in the fiscal year 16 budget, but a lot of those were not filled until on into the year, so we're just capturing that savings as well. 8.3.1 is dealing with the statewide spreads. Superior Court, Section 9. Dealing with the accountability courts, again, one of those items that is the request was for what the same request is in the fiscal year 17 budget, knowing that once we get this approved and out the door and signed by the governor, then they'll only have about a quarter year of expenses there, so going back in and capturing that. 9.3.2 is just providing some help for the 6 circuits that have brought in some accountability courts as well. Supreme Court, Section 10. Again, the items that you see there deal with positions that were asked for in the amended 16, but we're going to look at those in the 17 budget. One of the statewide spreads at 10.1.1, and then dealing with that case management position. It's a shared service between them and the appeals court in 10.1.8. Our next change, if you'll flip on to Section 17. Physicians Workforce Board, there were a couple of changes there. 1711.1 and 1712.2 are tied to each other, and those are some excess funds that were not needed in the medical education fund, so we moved those up to 1711.1 to adjust for some staff expenses. And then 1712.1 is capturing the savings that is also available there. 1751, you'll see, is basically a language item, a yes item. It's just clarifying the language there. And 17.3.1, there was a little bit of a question after we passed the budget last year as to how those funds could be expended. And we're just going in and clarifying legislative intent as it relates to that. Section 18, Department of Community Supervision. One of our new agencies we created last year as part of criminal justice reform. Things are seeming to be going extremely well there, and they do have a need for some parking at one of their facilities here in Atlanta, but we're just saying right there, go ahead and purchase that lot and use existing funds to do so. And then 18.3.1 is just looking and saying that we know those positions are not going to be hired or filled until July 1, so there's no need for those funds right now. If you'll look on to Section 19, Department of Corrections, see a reduction 19.1.1. Again, one of those things coming from criminal justice reform. If you'll recall, about 2 or 3 years ago, we were spending over $20 million a year in county jail subsidy. The spend for the first 6 months this year was $660. So that means that our agency is able to get prisoners out of their county jails, which frees up space there for their use, and also has driven down the operating expense for the Department of Corrections. The cut there, we'd left $50,000 there in the 16 budget, and looking and realizing they'd only used $660 some odd dollars, we decided to go on and take another additional cut, leaving about $5,000 total in that program, just to be on the safe side in case there happens to be an uptick for some reason. Section 24, in education under the QBE program, just a truing up based on later information on student counts, about a $14,000 change there. Section 28 deals with Department of Human Services. As we know, we've had the issues with DFACs and trying to make sure that we're servicing the clientele there that needs the benefits of this agency, realizing that as we've added 600 plus caseworkers over the last couple of years, we're starting to run into some space issues in the local county offices, and some of it's space issues, some of it deals with the condition of offices, and of course you know that we've got a very high turnover rate within that agency, and so we know that part of that problem is the working conditions. So what you've got there, that $1.4 million allows for the relocation and modification of some of the offices that are existing, and those offices are in Fulton, Cherokee, Pickens, and Gilmer. Under 2810.1, Elder Community Living Services, Commissioner Crittenden is the new commissioner there at DHS, and she's gone in and started trying to get her arms around things, has realized that under the CCSP program, many of you are familiar with that allows our elder citizens to stay in their homes and receive services at home instead of going into the nursing home. And there have been some cost escalations there, and she's still trying to get her arms around that, but there's going to appear to be about a $2.3 million shortfall by the end of the year, so we're trying to mitigate that as well. Moving on to Section 31, Department of Juvenile Justice, capturing the savings on 31.3.5 and 31.3.6 of the changes in some of the facilities, just capturing there about $1.7 million there. Next change you're going to see is going to be in Section 35, Pardons and Paroles. 35.3.1, just a small reduction to align for projected expenditures there. And that amounts about $93,000. Section 37, Public Defender's Council. 37.2.3, slight adjustment, again adding about $150,000 for some of the costs dealing with some of the cases around the state that we're dealing with, or the public defenders are dealing with. So slight add to what the governor's addition had been as well. Section 41, the Board of Regents, 3 transactions there that are no dollar amounts attached to. If you'll look at 41.17.2, 41.1.1, and 41.3.1 dealing with cooperative extension and ag experiment stations. As you're aware, we have A and B unit budgets for our regents. B unit entities, as we did the pay raises last year across the state, some of the institutions did pay raises within the institution that were above what we'd put in. And the B unit being a creature kind of the General Assembly, we had not funded the additional raises to match the institution raises. And so what we're doing there is just saying that you can use the A unit dollars to do those equitable pay raises within the B unit entities as well, because you do have teaching responsibilities there. Also under teaching, 41.17.1, dealing with the Cordele Center. Representative Harden has been working on that there in Cordele. for the last couple of years, and there was an ask for some operating expenses there, and what we're doing there is saying, yes, do that, but use existing funds that you have in-house. Section 43, Secretary of State's Office. Some slight adjustments for actual expenditures on 43.1.1, 43.4.2, and 43.6.1, just aligning those expenditures for actuals. Section 48, Department of Veterans Services. They were having a couple of shortfalls within their administration, but they had some overages within the cemetery program and the nursing home program as well. So they had asked for, it was an agency asked for a shift of some of those dollars up to the administration piece, and so we were glad to oblige them. And then last but not least, Section 50, the GO bonds. You'll just see where we captured some of the debt service there to do the General Assembly statewide spreads. Mr. Chairman, that is about as short and sweet as I can make that, and I'm glad at this point to take any questions we may have from the committee.
Thank you, Chairman England.
And I will add, if we don't have any questions, I'll be glad for you to take a motion to adopt as well. So,
duly noted, sir. Thank you, Chairman England, for your presentation. And I'd like to take liberty on behalf of myself and all your subcommittee chairs and the members of the Appropriations Committee and the General Assembly. Thank you for your diligence and your hard work and your short presentation. So we appreciate that very much. But at this time, do we have any questions for the chairman? Motion do pass and second. Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HB 750 moves on.
Wait, you want to take a vote? You might want to do that.
There wasn't nobody opposed. I figured that would pass. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Motion and the bill passes.
You can go on and adjourn the committee meeting if you want to. We're adjourned. So.
We're adjourned. Thank you.